Hearts in this moment. Let's begin. Welcome to episode 2 of the Enchanted Grooming Cauldron podcast. We're gonna get it right. I swear we're gonna get it right. We have notes. We actually have notes. We have a kind of an opening structure that we're probably going to use for a while until we're comfortable with how this goes. Because we just don't want to. We want to have a flow. We want to have it flow.
Trying to give you like segments, some form of routine.
Ocean Jasper reminding us to go with the flow. Let's see. So our introduction is we just did that, and it says here, we're batch recording. Stephanie, tell us what that means.
So we did the first episode
5 minutes ago.
Yeah, like 5 minutes ago we finished it. And now we're doing the second episode.
Why we haven't changed.
Yes, so we look the same. Nibbler's still napping.
He hasn't really moved
at
all.
Well, he followed me over to the bathroom door to watch while I peed.
Yeah.
He's too lazy sometimes to go all the way in, so he just sits outside.
He just watches.
He's like, I know she's not going anywhere.
No. He whimpered a little bit when you went upstairs earlier, but I'm like, dude, she'll be right back. And he heard you go up the stairs. He came racing back in here to look out. Yeah. You were already past, so he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy.
Yeah. A little obsessed.
Yeah. I think he knows me well enough now. But
yeah. We've traveled together.
I'm like your second mom. Hotel mom.
Yep.
Let's see. So I'm excited about this topic. Mostly I'm excited about this topic, not because it's a topic, but because I'm excited about the longest day of the year.
Yeah.
I like warm weather.
I'm the opposite. I like
the sunshine. Yeah, so I like to be able to get outside and spend more time outside. So I'm excited about this time of year. Hi, sweetheart. You say no. Are you going to join us this time? You got something to say? Yeah, you can chime in.
Yeah, I don't love the warm weather. Not my favorite time of the year. I really hate that my birthday is in July. I hate it. Because I don't want to go. I want to go do outside things, but it's too hot to go do outside things. So it's very frustrating. But I'm just more of a winter solstice person. But I do like, it is kind of a cool time of year. I like the plant part.
Yeah, harvesting.
And the plant and animal part of this time of year.
Yeah.
I'm very into the seasonal flow of things. Yeah. I'm working on, when I'm at home, trying to keep my food, as far as the fruits and vegetables that I use, more seasonal, like what I could get in that season. Yeah. I don't get them as often, but I mean, I get grapes, but it's during grape season. I know it's still not what's here, but
yeah,
but
if you were going to only eat the foods that were natural here, you'd eat what? Squash?
I mean, there are a lot of things that are natural here, but I can't grow a lot of the things that would be natural for here. I physically can't, and I can't forage as much as I would need to. I'd have to be able to hunt. I can't hunt. Physically, I can't hunt.
I don't want to.
Yeah. I used to hunt. I enjoyed hunting. Enjoyed being in nature and all of that, and we were very intentional. My family was very intentional about the way we used the meat and all of it, and we donated. There was a place that you could donate their hides, and they would be made into things for the homeless.
Oh, nice.
So it was a thing up there because, of course, there's a ton of it up there. So people would just donate it because they're like, well, I don't need it.
Right. What am I gonna do with it?
I don't want to sit here and tan this hide. Here you go. Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I understand not wanting to also.
Yeah, it's just not my thing. I've cleaned deer. I love venison. I'm not a hunter.
Yeah.
Not a hunter.
Do you like fishing?
I have. I've gone fishing.
Yeah.
I don't dislike fishing.
I think if I was gonna do,
I wouldn't say that I necessarily. Oh, I can't wait to go fishing. Like that's not a hobby.
I used to go fishing a lot when I was younger because that was the thing. We actually did a lot of fishing and hunting because we were poor. So what we couldn't do on the farm, we tried to do both. We
were poor too, but we were city dwellers, so we just got in line for the cheese. We just got the powdered milk.
We had the power of nature around us, which was really great. I did learn a lot of things. Yeah. And so, but yeah, I think if I was going to do like one of those things, like fishing, I could do pretty easily physically with the right spots.
Yeah, I see that.
That's something and I don't think I'd go just on a regular day, but I think if I was it's something that I would enjoy if I was camping near a stream.
Sure.
Just sitting there and fishing during the day would be fun for me.
Yeah.
Because I can't go out and hike a lot.
Yeah.
I do a little, but I can't do what most people want to. And so I do a lot of just sitting around the campsite. I posted today about how I have a hard time finding people to camp with because I have to sit by the campsite. I want to go on a camping trip where I just go and I spend the weekend.
Does John?
No, he hates it. He likes the during the day part, but can I go back to a hotel after for the night? He hates camping.
So never mind. I was going to say something, but I'm going to keep that to myself.
I'm kind of thinking when I go to Iowa in July I found this place. It actually wouldn't be so much camping. It would be glamping because they have like a yurt type thing. But it's a place they are run by botanists and
hippies.
The place has been run by botanists for
hippies.
Like decades. Yeah, botanists.
I know.
But they have the whole, they have 40 acres or something, and it's filled with forageables and
what's it
food.
called?
I have to look it up.
Okay, we'll have to look it up.
But it's it's just as you're getting by Davenport area of Iowa. It's just as you're getting into Iowa.
I have been through Iowa, I don't even know how many times
I've
driven.
But it's on my way out to where I'm going for the CPR classes.
I think the only time I've ever stopped in Iowa or went somewhere in Iowa, besides a gas station, we went to the Field of Dreams. We visited the Field of Dreams.
Interesting.
That was that was it. So, no offense, Iowa, but yeah, we drive through there all the time when we drive out west. So
they have a yurt kind of situation.
That's cool.
It's like a porta potty. You're still kind of rough in it.
Sure.
Outdoor kitchen kind of situation, which is kind of cool. And then they also have a bunch of animals. But it's a running farm, and they do classes as well. So I want to spend a couple days there doing classes. You can do classes on foraging.
When is this?
The weekend of July 11th.
Is that Pasadena?
I don't know.
That's just before Pasadena.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's the weekend before Pasadena. Well, I can't go.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud.
Either way, I'm going.
You're
even
going.
If it's by myself. And Nibbler. And Nibbler can go, which is awesome. Yeah, they have all sorts of different classes that you can do. And then they just you can forage and stuff. And I'm excited. So I totally got off track there.
No, actually,
what were we talking about?
What we're talking about? We're talking about the summer solstice, but no, yeah. I don't think that's off track at all.
Where are we at now? So basically, we're going to talk about the summer solstice. It is the longest day of the year. It is June 20th
this year.
Oh, it's the 20th?
It's the 20th this year.
Why does it change?
Well, it's usually anywhere between the 20th, 21st. It's just because it's the sun.
Yeah.
And the rotations around the earth.
Following what it goes
so
for.
It's going to change. It's going to change something. That's right. It's kind of when you look at the wheel of the year and the solstices and equinoxes are usually on the 21st of every month. And then the other days are the first, usually the first. However, Samhain is on the first.
Yeah.
Because it's the eve.
Yeah.
But of the first. So, yeah.
Way to go on pronouncing Samhain right.
Yeah, I learned. That was one of the first words I learned how to pronounce because I remember reading it the way it sounds and thinking, oh, okay.
It sounds
And then I
odd.
heard somebody else say it, and I thought, what? And then I actually finally looked it up, and I was like, oh, okay, I've been saying it wrong. Good
Yeah.
to know. Just like tarot. People pronounce tarot very differently in different parts of the world, too. Like, I've heard it pronounced tarot.
Yeah.
And I've just always pronounced it
I've always
tarot.
heard tarot.
I don't know. This is how I pronounce it. If it's wrong, don't come at me.
Also, I think it's important to note that it's June 21st in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yes, which is where we are.
Which is where we are. Australian friends,
hemisphere.
We're confused.
We're Yule.
We're like backwards. And
like
I'm sorry.
Yule.
Please bear with us. I'm not going to be able to keep track of that. I can barely keep track of time zones. Like, between, like, me and someone in California. So why is the summer solstice important in spiritual and witchcraft traditions? Did you have something to say?
No.
Oh. Basically, it's like a celebration of light, the life force, the sun. I did hear one version of it where it was like a baby, and the baby is born in the spring equinox, and then the summer equinox. It's like I don't know. It was something.
It was something.
Not like a baby, Jesus baby. It was like a goddess thing.
Can we hold Nibbler up like Simba? We should do that. When we edit. I'm naming him.
But yeah, it's, I am very into like the seasonal shifts. I like transition. It's a big thing of transitions for me. So like, cause I'm very particular about my transitions with everything. I'll talk about that more at some point.
Yeah.
But I like to have that like transition between the different seasons. So I'm very like into like seasonal things and flowing with the seasons. And so usually, and like my body kind of responds to it. Usually I feel much more energetic in the spring. I tend to be more mentally into it, like in it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm more mentally there. I'm more in the now kind of thing. Yeah, and then so like it's kind of like this energetic time.
Yeah,
I think of
high energy. I get that.
So once I hit August, I'm like, I hate everything.
I get that. Well, you mentioned the transition, and I think transition is, it's part of life, right? It is what it is, whether we like it or not. We're always in transition, but that is not always comfortable for me. I don't always do change easily. Yep. Even if it's something like the seasons changing, I can be up and down. With the
it definitely changing. Like it can be hard, especially my chronic illnesses, my POTS especially is affected by like the barometric pressure a lot. So like the springtime, it's a time of growth, and like I like that part. Also, it's a time of I'm laying down a lot. Yeah. So there is a lot of like a mix of that too. But like for me, I like the transition of the seasons because it's a slow transition. It's not like now it's spring. Oh, right. Now it's summer. It's a slow transition. And so like I like that there's like predictable markers that I can like see like, oh, this is happening. This means this is coming. And it helps my autism side of like wanting structure, and also the little bit of my ADD that wants not structure, because it's, we get to change now. But yeah, I don't know. I have a whole different energy for every season.
Yeah.
So.
Fair.
Yeah. Some people celebrate these with fire festivals and gratitude and expansion. Fire festivals sound hot.
I know. I was looking at stuff too, because so full disclosure, I don't do a whole lot of celebrating. Yeah. These specific solstices and equinoxes, but why can't I think of the word for the ones that are the
don't know what they are either.
I can't.
They'll come to you eventually.
It will. It'll probably come to me in 3 days. But I don't necessarily celebrate them. Like growing up, obviously we did Halloween, we did Christmas, we did Easter. So I still, with my kids and my grandkids now, I know how am I a grandma? I'm like 20.
It's
So we still celebrate those holidays. Kind of for me growing up, there was never a religious connection.
Yeah.
Because again, I didn't grow up going to church, so we weren't raised with a specific religion. We didn't go to church, so for me, Christmas was gifts. Gifts. In fact, I don't even remember. I don't think we did stockings.
Yeah.
Like we just did gifts under the tree.
I was Catholic, but the holidays, they weren't treated like a religious holiday for us. Like, yeah, there's a couple extra masses, but it was presents and getting together with family and Santa and and we celebrate Christmas with our families. I celebrate more like seasonally, so I like to have my like Yule trees and like I like to decorate. But I don't like when I have to have it for only a month. So I'm like, no, we're doing it season. So Halloween starts from September 21st.
Right. Halloween is year round. I haven't put up a Christmas tree in several years. Because
sorry.
No, it's okay because my kids don't come for Christmas. Yeah. So my grandkids are on the West Coast, and I have one daughter, 2 daughters and granddaughters on the West Coast, and then I have one daughter that's a couple hours away. The daughter that's a couple hours away, her and her husband, they don't really do Christmas. They don't celebrate Christmas because it's just not something he was brought up in. We do still give them gifts and they still like the gifts and they usually get us something, but it's just a different kind of celebration with them. And then the ones on the West Coast, they do Christmas, but we don't usually see them at Christmas time because they don't come here. Mm-hmm. It's nice there. And we usually go out there at Halloween because that's like really cool time to go there. However, this year, they don't want us to come at Halloween, and I'm heartbroken, but they want us to come at Christmas. Uh-huh. So we will be spending Christmas out there. So I haven't put up a tree in our house because I personally don't see the point in dragging the darn thing in the house, buying it, dragging it in, decorating it. Now we have kittens, so know they're going to be in the tree. Because they do.
For me, a lot of the thing with a lot of my like decorating type things, especially Christmas time, Yule, whatever you want to call it, I have a lot of good memories from living with my grandma and grandpa during Christmas time. It was when a lot of our family came to visit and it felt like we had a community around us, which we normally didn't. And my grandma would host and she'd make the food and we'd all hang out and play games and stuff like that. And one of the things, so that was important, but also me and my grandma would do all of the decorating together. And when she knew she was going to pass away, she was like kind of handing things out to all of us. I was the only one who wanted the photo albums or any of the like ornaments or any of that. So I took all of them. And so actually upstairs one has a lot of like ones that like, it was like my grandma and grandpa's first set of Christmas,
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, and so for me, especially when it comes to magic stuff, I very much like try to pull from like the ancestral magic.
Yeah.
So I also like bringing things. I don't have a lot, especially from that family, as far as like ancestral magic. So things like that, I like having it. I like it in general. Pretty much anything you see for decoration around my house, there's something. There's a meaning behind it usually. Yeah.
I have the angel that was on our tree growing up that my mom had. It was a gold, very, very kitschy kind of gold with the lights around it. Yeah. It's in terrible shape. Like it's because it was bark. They actually had some rain damage in the basement once, and so lost a lot of stuff. My aunt had made ornaments, so they had all these beaded ornaments. Yeah. And they're gone. Ugh. And I wanted those. I thought I would love those. I remember mentioning it to my stepdad. I want, which you'll hear me refer to him as my dad and as my stepdad officially. But I wanted those, and I said, I want the. After my mom had passed away, I said, when we was going through the house, I'm like, if you find the Christmas ornaments, I want the Christmas ornaments. And so he starts bringing me like all this really cheap ornaments that they bought in the last 5 years, and it's like, yeah, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Like, I want the stuff I grew up with, and it turned out that like it all pretty much got destroyed. But he did find the angel, and so I have that. And like I said, it's not in good shape, but I have it. And why are we talking about Christmas annual?
Well,
as we digress, because this is how our brains work.
This is our brains.
Work.
So some other things with the summer solstice, there's common magical themes: abundance, creativity, clarity, confidence, tending to what you've planted earlier in the year. It's when that's where I got kind of where I started bringing the growth cycle in, is that seasonal thing
for your class.
But like, this is the time of year when all of that work that you put into tending these seeds and getting them sprouted, they're starting to grow, and they're going to eventually start flowering and giving you abundance.
Yes, and you'll be able to harvest.
Yeah, and So what does the solstice mean to like you personally, like the summer solstice? And we will talk about grooming also, right. But in general.
Personally, it's the warm weather. I'm ready for it to be warm. I'm ready to be outside more. It's interesting because I want to be outside, but I don't go outside. Does that make sense?
I don't have a nice outside.
Neither do I, and I have a nice yard, but like I have
way over there.
I don't really like to be outside when my neighbors are outside. Because we have one fence, the back fence, and the fence on this side is a privacy fence, and then of course the garage and everything, driveways there. So that's kind of private. But like this side of my house, it's not a privacy fence, and they sit outside a lot, which is good for them. But like, I talk to myself a lot.
Yeah.
Like I have things going on in my head, and I'll just randomly start talking out loud. Because I'm weird. It's just how I process. Yeah, right. That's how I process.
Some people are like that.
Yeah. Are you rolling your eyes at me?
No. Just think I can edit that out.
You can edit the eye roll. So I struggle with being outside because like I don't really have a patio to sit on.
Yeah.
So we're planning one though. Like we've been talking about.
We're planning a little.
You're planning the whole thing too. So we're talking about building a deck.
I will say I liked it a lot more. It was towards the end of living at our old house. We had finally gotten it to exactly where we wanted it to be. And like our backyard was really nice. I had a hammock.
Yeah.
And like we had these big trees for shade, and we had like nice wind because we were close to the lake there too. And it was just like, it was so perfect. And like I didn't want to buy a pool. They were really expensive at the time because it was around COVID times when this happened.
That's what happened in 2020.
And I got instead I got one of those, it's like a circle, and like it has like the water that comes up around the circle, and you can sit in the middle. It's like for little kids.
Yeah.
It's like a little thing for what, and I would just like sit in that or like hang out in the hammock, and it was just nice. And I liked being outside then.
Yeah.
And I want to have a space and then when the bugs were bad, I could go in my porch, which was screened in, and so I could and I had all my plants out there because that's where they got the best sun. And it was super nice, but I don't have that right now. So summer is kind of like,
the only plants we have are outside plants because I have a naughty cat, and if I have any kind of flower plant, it doesn't matter in the house, he will just tear it apart. It's so sad. But he's a jerk. He's just a jerk. I love him, but he's a jerk.
But yeah, for us, for me, a lot of what summer, like what I think of for summer is like the way I grew up, on the farm. Summer solstice is when like the spring, like craziness is over, and like everything's kind of like just chill. You still have work to do.
Warm and lazy.
Yeah, it's warm and it's like lazy. Like you don't have to do as much work.
Yeah. If only.
Yeah, and it was like just a slower time,
Yeah.
and we spent a lot more time like just chilling outside. We had a pool, and we would go fishing, and like it was a more relaxed time, more chill, and like I don't remember ever feeling like, oh my god, I'm so hot, like because I was running around because I was a kid, but I wasn't.
Right. Well, I think, to be fair,
I mean, the weather's probably changed. Yeah.
It is. The Earth is hotter than it used to be. Like it is getting warmer. So yeah. So we are seeing temperatures that we didn't have these temperatures when we were young. And I mean, even less when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
These temperatures, like, they just didn't exist. Not in Wisconsin. We didn't have 90-degree days in Wisconsin.
Last thing before we do the tarot poll, how do you notice the energy shift?
It's I'm gonna say it's hard to tell anymore because, again, I really started getting into this path during COVID. And I think really before COVID, there was a lot of things happened in the world.
Yeah.
That people that started to bring changes in people's attitudes. So, like, I remember being young, and like I remember playing outside, and I remember your neighbors would
Riding bikes.
They would look out for you outside, and riding our bikes. I used to ride my bike all over the city. I used to ride my bike, and I think that's kind of, sadly, it's a lot of that doesn't happen anymore. Everybody's got, they're driving, and they drive fast, and they don't care, and they're not necessarily looking out for each other. We've kind of shifted into a me-focused society, and I think when you ask me, like, the energy, it's hard.
I don't think society shifts as much either.
I just think the energy to me is, I still try personally. I believe fully in karma. What I put out there, I'm going to get it back. So I try very hard to put out, what I want, what I want to receive. I'm going to try to put out positive energy and, positive intentions. I don't always, see that around me. And I guess, so I don't know. I don't know that the energy is.
I think I agree with you. Society in general doesn't shift like it used to, and so it's harder to find that.
Yeah.
I think mostly I find it in dance.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it gets into my brain that the energy is shifting. Because, other things you can't rely on anymore, and so it's, for me, is seeing, the grapevines are starting to come up, which I'm sure everybody's going to talk about how much they hate them, but I love them. I love the grapevines, as long as they're not choking out my bushes. We just make sure that we keep taking them out every time we do the lawn. It's fine. Anyways, but seeing those come out, that's, for me, that's that energy shift. And when I start seeing those energy shifts, like with the plants, I also start getting more of an energy shift I notice my eating tends to shift. I tend to want more. I want more like snacky things and fruits and veggies, raw fruits and veggies, and I tend to want cottage cheese, like cold, kind of like salad type, egg salad. Like I tend to, like, my whole body kind of shifts with it.
Yeah.
Which can be really annoying for someone who's trying to feed me. But yeah. I had to really start, like, looking for the energy shift, I guess. Yeah. So
I get that. Yeah, definitely feel that.
All right. You ready to do your tarot poll?
Yeah. So, full disclosure, we pulled the card earlier. Let's see what message the solstice is bringing in this season of fire and fullness. So, I did pull a card, and the card is the 9 of Pentacles. And I enjoy reading tarot for myself. I do not have my tarot cards memorized. Like, I am not that good. So I do have a website. It's called the Tarot Guide. I think it's called the Tarot. Just double check. Yep, the Tarot Guide. And I like it. It's very easy to read and understand. So I'm just going to give you the general meaning of the Nine of Pentacles, and I pulled it upright. So in general context, the Nine of Pentacles is a great omen to get as it represents success, independence, confidence, freedom, security, and stability. It is a minor arcana card of abundance, prosperity, and wealth gained through hard work, self-discipline, and control and self-reliance. It signifies that you have worked very hard to create the success and status you are experiencing, and now is the time to enjoy it. So indulge yourself, pamper yourself, and enjoy the luxury and contentment your accomplishments bring you. The Nine of Pentacles also signifies beauty, grace, elegance, and sophistication. So you may find yourself enjoying the finer things in life when it appears. Tea. This card also tells you that you have gained maturity and wisdom through your perseverance. If representing a person, it usually represents a strong, confident, independent woman who is beautiful and sophisticated and has worked hard to get where she is. I think that describes us both very well.
Yeah.
So when I read tarot, as I said in our first episode, I've done a lot of shadow work. And through through that work, I've gained I think a pretty decent understanding of myself. So when I read tarot, it's very personal to me. So I'll look at the things that make sense for me. So for somebody else, you might read it different. Mm-hmm. You might think when it talks about the abundance, prosperity, and wealth gained through hard work, self-discipline, and control of self-reliance. I might be thinking specifically about, my job, my business, and where I'm at. Or I might be thinking about my spiritual path and how much I've grown and prospered in that area. So it's very personal, and I don't read for other people. I have no interest in reading for other people, which is probably why I haven't put a lot of into trying to memorize the cards. Because can you imagine reading for somebody? Could you imagine going and having a reading done and having them page through a book? And so this means, so I'm not reading for other people. I just read for myself. And I like this particular website. There's other websites, there's books. If you're interested, obviously you can look that stuff up. Some people my husband, for instance, actually got into tarot, and he gets into it on a much deeper level. He's looking up, I can't even tell you the stuff he's looking up, but I remember asking him one time about something, and he went on a tangent about some real deep tarot stuff.
I feel like his mind is a lot more like mine, where we do kind of we internalize a lot of our thoughts, and we're taking it apart all the time. Because I feel I'm yep, I get that.
Yeah, I'm just I didn't get that.
I had a hard time doing that with tarot personally. We're gonna do an oracle pull at the end. I am an oracle person, and I like that because no one's expecting me to remember that, first of all, because I'm not gonna remember any of it. But also, it's because they're all different. All the cards, all the decks are different. They have different cards in them. It doesn't feel like I'm having to live by rules, because then it sets off my autistic brain where I'm no, I have to do the rules, and it's black and white, and this is exact. So I have to kind of get the ADHD brain to kind of take over and be hey, no, this is probably what it means. So yeah, I tend to resonate more with the oracle, because I can switch it back and forth.
And I have an oracle deck. I have a couple oracle decks. I like them. I do, but I don't know. I'm more drawn to the tarot.
Yeah.
When I'm doing that. So I've had multiple tarot decks and I give them away.
Yeah.
I was buying tarot decks just for the artwork, right? Because it's this is really, it's really beautiful artwork. But one of the problems I had is I have very small hands.
And they're all so big.
And
they're all, these?
They're big cards.
My oracle ones?
I can't shuffle them. And I could shuffle them. I can't. My mom loved playing solitaire and cribbage. So she taught me how to like shuffle. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
Vegas shuffle.
I can't shuffle those.
Yeah. No, I couldn't shuffle those. So I was always looking for a small deck.
Yeah.
And I had found one set locally. And it was in a tin. It was real pretty. But it didn't really it didn't call me. It didn't necessarily feel like this is my deck. And
I think that's kind of
yeah. And then we were kind of like when I'm sure we'll have an episode on crystals and talk about the draw to crystals. But so we were up at a metaphysical shop because I tend to look for those shops everywhere we go. And we were up in the Appleton area a few years back. So we went to this shop in Appleton. And I'm looking around, and I'm not necessarily looking for tarot cards because I have the deck, the small deck that I had. And then, I picked this deck up off the shelf, and I immediately, my eyes just went to it. And it's called the Everyday Witch. It's Deborah Blake did the artwork. So it's the Everyday Witch Tarot. And yeah, and I was just drawn to it. And they're small. They fit my hands. I can shuffle them. The only drawback is the smaller deck did not come with a book.
Yeah.
And if I want a book, I have to buy the big deck to get the book, which I've thought about because I thought I could do something with the big cards, like an art piece with the big cards.
Okay.
And just use, but I just haven't done it yet because, tarot's not cheap, right? Like all the decks are like $40 or more. So I haven't done it yet. But anyway, so this is my deck.
Which one did you pull again?
9 of Pentacles. So, yeah, and I have the Oracle deck, too, that goes with the Everyday Witch. And Deborah Blake is coming out with a new book, too. I just seen that. Yeah, it's Everyday Deities, I think it is. So it's going to be about deities.
Okay.
But I like her artwork. No, it's cool.
So one thing I like to do with my polls is, I think about it, too, but, I also like to see what Chat GPT says. So I asked it what it says about the summer solstice with that tarot poll.
Okay.
So the 9 of Pentacles is a card of self-sufficiency, beauty, abundance, and deep personal fulfillment. It often shows up when you've done the work and now it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, but not in a loud, flashy way. This is quiet, cultivated abundance. It's sipping something sweet in the garden you grew yourself. The summer solstice is the peak of light, the longest day, a time for celebrating what has grown and honoring what is in full bloom, both around you and within you. The 9 of Pentacles is essentially that same message in card form. You've worked hard. What if the next step is actually to enjoy what you've built? You don't need to prove your worth right now. You are in a chapter of luxury earned, not granted. The question becomes, can you allow yourself to feel good? Really, truly good. Together, they say, let inspiration come through pleasure. You don't need to hustle for ideas. Let the art, nature, texture, scent, and sound of your surroundings stir something within you. Create space for stillness. You may be more creatively alive in rest than in motion. Celebrate yourself as the vessel for your own magic. You've built a lot physically, spiritual, emotionally. It's okay to settle into the beauty of that.
Very nice. I can get behind that. Yeah. And how many of us, especially in this business, we tend to not just, bask in our successes.
Yeah. It's always on to the next thing.
It's always on to the next thing, or feeling like it wasn't quite enough. Whether it's just the groom, there was a hair out of place.
Yeah. The hustle culture.
Yeah. It's hard to, sometimes it's hard to meld these two, paths.
Yeah. You might be doing it in your real life, but are you doing it in your work life?
Right.
We're working a lot. We need to be looking at.
Yeah. That was something when I know I've mentioned shadow work a few times. Like when I was learning about myself, I discovered that there were things that I would do and behaviors that I had that would play out with different people and in different situations. So the way I behaved with my clients, I didn't behave that way in my home, right? I would, I was always friendly and kind, polite to whatever. Yeah, exactly. I would, be kind and polite to my clients, and then I would come home and just be a maniac in my house, and with my kids and my husband.
It's exhausting to mask all day and then come home and you just want to relax.
And I'm forever trying to find a better balance.
Life in general requires a certain amount of
masking. Because I can't actually be the way I am everywhere.
But you gotta also not burn yourself out with it. So anyways, guys, bask in your own glory and have some relaxed time. That's what we're telling us. What they're telling us.
Now, can I read this? It's really short.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get into the summer solstice talk.
So I can read
if you want to start with that.
So I found this book a long time ago. Oh, you're gonna leave me? Okay. I found this book a long time ago. I don't know if you can read it. Down the Witch's Way. It's just a really simple book, but it's fun because it is so simple. This is it. This is how it talks about Letha. But it's got all the solstices from the the Wheel of the Year. They're all in here. It just gives a quick, brief explanation. So I'm just going to read it. Okay, Letha. The longest day with the sun so high marks the change when the dark draws nigh. I should put my glasses on so I can actually read. Okay, Letha is midsummer, a time for celebrating and rejoicing and correcting negative aspects of our lives. This holiday is marked by carnivals and fairs and fireworks. That's it. That's short and sweet.
Yeah, if you think about it, we do a lot of celebrating during the summer.
We do. We do. Graduation parties, Independence Day, just picnics. Yep, we do a lot of that.
Yeah, there used to be more. We should do more. I want to do a picnic now.
I've been thinking about a groom, because our grooming group, we have a grooming group. We have a Wisconsin groomers group. We also have a Racine grooming. We call it Racine Grooming Network. It's just a Facebook group. We have very little activity in there, but we try to give heads up to the other groomers. Like if we have a client that, you know how it is, right? You're giving a client warning. Or if we hear that a groomer is sick or passed away, or they're retiring, or they just plain quit. This is where we share that information with each other so that we know, hey, why is my phone ringing off the hook? And because so-and-so, she retired. And so all her clients are looking to get in somewhere. So we have that. And in the past, we've planned dinners. Mm-hmm. And we've had a couple. We haven't had, I would love to do it more often. Mm-hmm. I think we had planned to try to do it every quarterly. And it just, we did a couple times and then it just kind of fell to the wayside, which, happens. But what we find is really difficult is to pick a day when everybody can do it. And a lot of times, and I see this in other groups too, and I hear this in other groups too, you put something out there and, you'll get dozens of people that are like, oh yeah. And then you put it together and you come back and you go, okay, here it is. We planned it. This is the day. This is the time. And then it's like, oh, I can't do it. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. And we see that with educational things. Somebody will come into our group and they'll say, hey, does anybody know how to do hand stripping or whatever, or creative grooming? And so we'll go, hey, we've got people in the state that do that. Let's do a class, hey, if we set something up. And, we try to find people that are willing to give up their salon for an afternoon.
And then no one shows up.
And it's like,
I have that issue here. With selling tickets to classes here.
We try to...
People will tell me, oh, you need to do this. And then I do it. And they're like, oh, I can't make it.
Right. And we'll try to bring in big names, right? People that are, well known in the industry for doing certain things. And we'll try to bring them in to do that. But they want to be paid. There's people out there that they'll come and they'll visit, but you got to pay them. Mm-hmm. Well, we have to sell enough tickets, like you said, to get them to be able to afford for them to come. And then when everybody's interested, until it comes down to, put up the money and show up, and then they don't. And it's really, it's a shame. It's really a shame. I believe that we should all be investing in continuing education. And that can look like a lot of different things. It doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't have to. If you don't have the money to do it, that's fine. Find other ways. But here's the thing: the minute we stop learning or just going to hear things, we're just done. I mean, it's just we're done. Like we have to be open to learning and go to a class. People, like, I see so many people at these grooming shows, like hundreds and thousands of groomers milling around these grooming shows, and working in the booth. We work for a company where we sell in the booth. We help them sell product, and so we get visited by all the groomers that come to the show, and I can't tell you how many times I've heard people go, "Oh, I'm just here to shop." Which, great. I like to shop at the shows too, right? Like, I'm not paying shipping. I'm going to get a good deal. So I get that. But there's so many classes available and so many fantastic teachers out there. And if you don't like the teachers, like maybe the instructors, maybe you've heard the speaker already 10 times and you want a different speaker, right? Because I know there's a lot of stuff out there that gets recycled and it's just kind of the same thing. Let the show know. They give you evaluation forms, fill it out. Tell them, I'd like to see new speakers. You're laughing.
I'm laughing because you totally went on a tangent.
We can edit that out. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm trying to get my foot in the door to be a speaker. And I've had a few opportunities and I'm very grateful for them. And I would love to get more opportunities. And it's not happening.
Yeah.
So,
it's hard.
Yeah. So it's hard to get your foot in the door. But it's like, that's what it takes. Like, it takes people going, I've seen this person speak a dozen times. I want to see somebody new speak. And not to say that speaker isn't good, and because there's new people coming up. So, maybe the new groomers haven't heard this speaker before. So, it's all new information to them. The point I'm trying to make is that we need to keep learning. Right?
Yes.
That was the point.
We're going to keep learning.
We need to keep learning. Does that have anything to do with the summer solstice?
No. All right. So,
sorry.
The summer solstice.
All right, I'll be quiet for 5 minutes.
No, you won't. So, different magical themes for the solstice: fire, passion, transformation, working with solar energy, charging tools to, boosting courage. It's a good time to do like mid-year reflections. Are you reaching your goals? Do you need to alter your goals? Have things shifted?
I love that episode.
Constant pivots. Yeah, and then letting go and staying grounded in high energy. Those are all magical themes of the solstice. We did kind of talk about like how it feels for us. So then there's like seasonal grooming and pet care during this time. There's so much of this. First, there's the heat safety for pets and groomers that we have to think about.
Well, just shave everything. And then they'll be cool. Is that wrong? Is that the wrong answer?
Is that the wrong answer?
Do you have a collie at home? Just shave it.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. So that is something that does come up around this time of year a lot, is pet safety. Yeah. And I think groomers' safety too. I don't know how many shops I've been in where it's just like, people shouldn't have to work in this heat or humidity. Yeah. Neither of them need that. So they should be comfortable. I very much like to keep the salon at a comfortable level.
50 degrees.
I like to keep it cooler than most people. But yeah, that's a thing. Lots of sun, so be prepared for that. Hold on. Shedding, coat care, and dehydration risk. So, you want to...
Well, okay, so I groom cats.
Yeah.
And even when I groom dogs, I don't find most pets, when they're in the grooming salon, they're not drinking water.
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, I always had water, like in my salon, when I had my salon, I always had a bowl of water on the floor. I groomed one pet or family at a time.
Yeah.
And so they would come in, I'd groom them straight through. I would call or text, hey, they're ready for pickup, or I would tell them come back in an hour or whatever, and then they would go home. So they weren't in the salon for too much time. And I do that now, even at home. But because it's my home, I keep it at a comfortable temperature for myself anyway. So the air is on when it needs to be on, the heat is on when it needs to be on. But
I think.
Yeah, I really don't offer cats water.
Yeah.
Birmingham, they're not.
I don't always offer the animals water, but I have it available if they need it. Like,
sure. And if they look like they're in distress, then things change.
Yeah.
Stop. We just don't.
Well,
continue.
and that's why watching the supervision is so important for the dogs. Like, you know, there needs to be someone in the room.
Yes.
Like, at least if they're in cages, there should be someone in the room. And I know that's hard, but that's how it should be. There should always be someone in that room. And I mean, we don't have any kennels. We have one kennel just in case, but we never use it. And then we have like some gates that we can use to gate dogs off. But
or people.
Yeah, or people. But we don't use cages or crates here just because we do one dog at a time. But like, you know, even that, like, you got to be watching them to make sure, you know, even if we're keep it cool. Sometimes it gets extra humid.
Well, your dryers are going to, and we live in we get a lot of humidity here.
Yeah, my smart thermometer is right next to the drying area,
so you can pay attention to that.
Yeah, I'm constantly getting notifications about the humidity because it's super humid in that spot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it's nice. I can keep an eye on that. Like, while Meg's down working, I can be upstairs. If I see that alert go off, I can keep an eye on it. Like, I know, like, then, okay, we have to watch it. Usually it's just because, like, it's right next to where the dryer is. Right. And once they stop drying, then it's fine. But, like, yeah. I definitely see that.
Yeah.
All right.
So what, like, in the heat, the things we have to look at, here's our pet tech coming out. Heat stroke. There's something else.
Heat stroke, heat exhaustion, burns. Well,
sunburns, which is another reason why we shouldn't be shaving everything down. Parents think that, they're so hot. Dogs and cats, they don't sweat like we do.
Yeah.
So, as long as their fur is tangle free, it's going to insulate them. It's going to keep them cool or warm. Because that's what it's meant to do.
It's very much dependent on the animal.
It's really. I do know that there are some pets that tend to be more comfortable when they have less hair.
Yeah, but then they get
in. Fair enough. But it's also like we need to pay attention to what happens when we cut their hair, and we're exposing more of their skin. And if they're out in the sun,
and like
they can get a sunburn.
If you even if I'm just doing like a 3/8 guard comb on a little white fluffy dog. If there are those ones with the pink skin and you can see it like through that 3/8 guard comb still, like I tell the owners, like make sure that you're being careful in the sun.
Not too much sun.
The sun sometimes can be a little too energetic.
Yeah.
Too fiery.
So yes. Yeah, exactly. And I don't offer water because they're not going to drink it. They're not going to drink. But on the other hand, if you are in a salon that's high volume and you have dogs that are going to be there for hours, maybe they're not coming in and getting groomed immediately. They're going to sit in a kennel for a bit, then they're going to get a bath, then they're going to go back to the kennel for a bit, then they're going to get groomed, then they're going to go in a kennel for a bit till parents show up. Those might be the instances where you might want to think about offering water if you are in a shop that's going to be extra humid. And those dryers are going to add heat. So even if you got your air blasted, some spots in the salon are just going to be hotter because of the dryers and stuff. And if they're stuck in a kennel, even a wire kennel, you still got to be paying attention to them. So we just have to be extra mindful.
Yeah. Do you have any good summer or salon rituals that you can use to cool the place energetically and physically? And I would like to point out, I think of rituals as any sort of routine that helps you with staying grounded and balanced.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I like to get a good mind set too with grooming cats. There's so much mental preparation that goes into grooming cats, right? So if I'm not in a good place mentally, they will pick up on it. And I know dogs do too. I'm not saying dogs don't. I tend to find cats just, they react to it.
Yeah.
More. Where dogs might pick up on it, but they may not react to it the way cats will react to it.
Yeah.
In my experience, like I've had cats that if I'm in a good place, they're great, but if I'm in a bad place, they're going to be in a bad place. So I try to make sure that I mentally prepare myself any time of year, right? It's not just the summer solstice thing. I do some meditation in the morning. I like to light incense in the morning. And then I have my tea. I do my journaling. That's my ritual that I do. And then to prepare myself, that then when the pets come, the ritual is the routine. Everything is done very with an intent, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to bring them, I want to take them downstairs right away so that they're not overstimulated by my house and my pets. And sometimes I put my pets away. It depends on the cat that's coming. But I take them downstairs right away. I give them a couple minutes to just kind of take in the room while I run back upstairs and get my stuff, my tea or my water, their information card, whatever I need. And then I go back down and then, we open the cage, try to convince them to come out on their own. If I have to pull them out or, hopefully I can lift them out of the top rather than pull them from the front because that's never fun. But yeah, and just how I grow. Yeah. Everything is done kind of the same way. So yeah.
I usually in general, I'm very regimented in the way, I have a very specific ritual to the way that I wake up in general. But I do make sure that I spend extra time doing meditation specifically on calming my central nervous system because the more alert my central nervous system is, the hotter I'm going to be. So I try to keep it as low, as chill as possible. So that's my big thing. And then making sure that my air conditioner goes on super early. Do you change anything about your products, or do you do any special seasonal upgrades?
No, I don't. Because again, I groom cats, and so I have a very limited arsenal of products that I use because they have to be very, they have to be safe. I try to be very intentional when I choose a product, right? I want to know what's in it.
Yeah.
Even if it says it's safe, I want to know what's in it because maybe I don't think it's safe. You'll hear a lot of people talk about it's the amount, that makes it toxic or not, right? So, just because there's citrus in it doesn't mean it's toxic. But I'm kind of then it doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
If there's so little of it that it's not going to matter, then why does it need to be there at all?
Yeah.
So I tend to try to avoid certain ingredients. So I want to know what's in it. So I always choose products that list the ingredients. And not to be snotty, I've tried products that don't list ingredients. I have tried other products that just say they're safe, but they won't tell me what's in there. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen it be like, oh my gosh, this is what I gotta use. So I will tend to continue to go back to the products that I'm used to that list ingredients. Yeah. But I have a very limited, I think sometimes I think when you groom dogs, and this is probably one of the things I miss about grooming dogs, is
there's a lot more options.
There's a lot more options. There's options in the products that you use. There's options in what you're doing. With cats, it's very much it's either a lion cut or it's not a lion cut. There's not a whole lot of variations in that. I could go a little lower on the legs. I can leave a fuller mane. Maybe I can do the dino cut down the back. Honestly, it's the same haircut. There's not a lot of options. And it's the same with products. There's going to be that hypo product that's got nothing in it because you're going to have those cats that are real sensitive. I don't want to put any scent on them at all. And then there's just this is my everyday shampoo, or this is my deep cleaner, my degreaser, whatever.
Do you do a photo shoot thing?
I do. I have a little corner in my room, and I have a backdrop, and I do my best to get the cats to sit still. And sometimes I get really lucky, and I'll get a cat that will just have a phenomenal photo shoot. And a lot of times I get the cats where they're, every time I take my hand off them, they're in motion and I can't get a picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. And I put little bows on them or ties on them. And then I tell the owners, you're going to want to take that off because unfortunately I haven't really found any that are safety.
Yeah.
Or at least if they're out there, I can't pull them. It would be a lot more expensive to buy them like that. But so they do lock. So I have to tell the owners, just take it off at some point so they don't snag it on anything.
So, yeah, for the dogs, it's a lot more. There's a lot more we can do. Sorry, I'm hungry.
Fine.
So there's a lot more we can do. When I was mobile, we had, my boss was very, with all of the holidays, on it, and had, backgrounds and, bandanas and bows and bow ties. Right. So we did that all the time. Now the way we have it is Meg uses some seasonal scents. I don't like super scented things, and so I don't really use seasonal scents. But I do, because I'll do herbal soaps or stuff like that, my herbs and oils that I mix in, because I like to make little potions by
yeah, that's cool.
I do I will do more seasonal stuff for that.
I do that with my dog. I can have, I can do different things with, but I don't have a lot. I have one little dog. So I still I don't have a whole lot for her. I do. I will tell you that that's something that I miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. One of the things I miss with when I groomed dogs is I had a cologne that I just loved. Actually, there was two, I always want to call them fragrances. There was two fragrances that I really liked, but one was my number one, and it's called Spectacular, and it's by Show Season. Oh, I love it. And I'm pretty sensitive to smells. So I've only found a few colognes over the years that I can tolerate, that I like. So when I find one that I like, it's my go-to. And I don't put anything on the cats. Mm-hmm. So I miss that. That's the weird thing, but that's what I miss about grooming dogs, is that I don't get to spritz the cats with cologne so they smell pretty when they leave.
I don't put cologne on any of the animals myself, but I have them up there for
other people,
the clients to put on.
Yeah. Well, that's a good idea.
Because I don't know if someone's allergic.
That's a good idea. Yeah. I used to just spritz them, and then if they told me, oh, don't do that, or they would tell me before. Some people would come in knowing that, don't put anything on them.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you, I'm very sensitive to smells, and it's okay, then we probably going to stick with a hypo shampoo, no colognes, just because I don't want to be the bearer of your discomfort.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we also we have our little photo area.
Yeah.
It used to be I did more of a flower theme. I was more specific to the flower theme for the season. Yeah. But not so much with the background, but with the bandanas especially. Yeah. It was really limiting Meg, because Meg likes more creativity, which is fine. So we found a balance. And so I was doing it more just seasonal, but now we're doing it a little bit different, but it still fits. We actually, for summer, we're just doing rainbow.
I am so good with that.
Yeah. But yeah, I like decorating and stuff. Eventually I want more actual decor to put up, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
So
well, then you gotta store it. You also have to, after you take it down, that's something that I always think about. I wish I had this kind of prop, what is going to be my props for, I have the background, but it's but it can't just be a background, right? I want to give them, Allison's got so much, and it's always so fun.
Yeah.
And it's I want that too. And, but I try to come up with stuff for props, and it's I can't afford. Like I hit
Yeah.
up the secondhand stores all the time, and I'm always looking. So my eyes are always open. Sometimes I'll get lucky and find. Like I found a couple years ago. I found a nutcracker.
Oh, cool.
You know, the very traditional looking nutcracker. So that's I put that out during the holiday season during Christmas time. You know, and of course you can always find pumpkins and stuff. And there's I got colored eggs for Stera. Yeah. So I'm always looking.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get lucky and find something, and
for me, I've just been like, I'm gonna slowly build up my decor.
Yep.
Next, the next
topic.
Not necessarily. There's also things to think about during the summer solstice time. Parasites.
What do you mean, like fleas and ticks?
Well, yeah, just like there's gonna be a lot more of the different parasites. Not only fleas and ticks, but like parasites that are more like contagious because we're moving, like we're a lot more active during the summer.
Yep, we're outside.
We're out more.
Everybody's out more.
We're like we're around more people, around more dogs. Yeah. So a lot more things can be passed around. Right. I mean, that includes also like it can be more than just parasites, but also like illnesses. Like you have to be careful. I know in doggy daycare, that and like Christmas is the times when it's the most likely you're going to end up with a sick dog, kennel cough or something like that. So yeah, you got to be careful, but also and then also dogs going into water all the time.
Yes.
So you're going to see more. Yeah. You're going to see more parasites that way. Another thing that you're going to see is a skin flare-up, like an ear infection. Because that was the next thing I was going to say. There's also a lot more skin flare-up, allergy season.
It was a few years ago. I mean, it happens every year, but it was a few years ago because I think I was managing a salon, and that summer was crypto. Just is it sporidium? It's something in the water.
Okay.
But that's not what it's called for dogs. It's kind of the same. I think it's the same parasite, but it might be called something different for dogs. That was that was going around for people, and it just caused an intestinal issue. But like dogs were getting it.
Yeah.
I was like, I swear it was caused by the same parasite, but I don't know if that's what they called it, the same thing. But it was from the water, and it was like from. Like they traced it, I think, to one of the parks, and the dogs were drinking the water in the park because that's when they're thirsty. They drink water, and we have a lot of dogs getting this intestinal parasite. This one summer was pretty bad.
Well, warmth also promotes a lot more bacteria.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be more. Yeah. There's things grow during the summer. That includes fungus and bacteria. And we're going to be more active. There's going to be a lot more skin issues, allergy issues.
So what would you suggest? So when you're talking to your clients, what do you suggest to your clients when we know that there's going to be people that they want their dogs shaved because they're so hot. We talk to them about, the possible, like if they have a double coated dog, I'm thinking of specifically, we always talk to them about the potential damage that you're going to do to the coat, whether we choose to do it or not. It's everybody's. I'm not going to tell you what to do or not do. But we should be talking to the clients about that. But what do you talk to clients about, like when they have their dogs that go swimming? Like, do you encourage them to trim the hair more to keep them shorter for that reason? Because I know that I've
for me, it really depends. Because if the dog is having skin issues, then I'm going to assume it's probably from something with swimming and probably not being dried properly or whatever.
Not being rinsed and dried properly.
And so I'm going to assume that I'm going to think, okay, the lake is probably gross or whatever. But it's really going to depend on the situation for me. Because I will, like, if I think the situation makes sense to shave the dog, then I'll agree with them and do it. Otherwise, I'll try to get them not to.
Just kind of educate them on how to.
Yeah, because, especially, dogs aren't what they used to be, naturally. Sometimes that's why we are here, because we have to help them with their coat care. That's why we're groomers, so...
So you mean the doodles weren't... running with wolves in the
No.
wild? Oh, okay.
So
They weren't bred for that purpose.
yeah. But yeah, the like skin issues, allergy issues, you're gonna see a lot of. It's all, things are growing, plants are growing, fungus is growing, bacteria is growing, everything's gross basically. And the summer
solstice is
the summer
and
heat,
gross.
yeah, the summer heat just makes everything grosser.
Yeah.
So now we'll move on to ritual ideas. So these are some ideas on what you can do as far as rituals to involve your magic in your grooming, basically. So charging your grooming tools in the sunlight, especially during the solstice. Charging during the sunlight is supposed to be kind of giving it energy, powerful, good energy, making sun water or fire blessed sprays for the salon. I know there are some really good herbs for fire blessed sprays. Sun water, where just like moon water, where you're using the sun's energy basically. I've never done it with sun water, but I've done it with moon water, where I will use moon water in my little potions to dilute my water. So I'll do that. I've never really thought about sun water. I'm more of a moon person. So
because I do cats and their baths are very different. I don't. Well, I don't. I shouldn't say obviously, because some people do fill the tub and kind of dunk them, soak them, and
yeah.
I don't do that. No, I use the sprayer. Well, I use it not on spray, but I use the nozzle and get them wet, shampoo, rinse them. So, okay. But anyway, so I don't like. Plus, I have yet to have a cat that actually wants to sit in water. I have a lot of cats that actually tolerate the bath, but they don't want to sit in a tub full of water. Yeah. So, but I was thinking that, I'll take baths myself with crystals. Sometimes I'll, have crystals in the tub, or, herbs. You can talk about herbs or oils, I'll put those things in the tub with me if I'm trying to,
You could do those things, like put them in a jug of water
and then
pour it over it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, with the
or even dogs too, I guess.
Yeah, you could do dogs too. With the herbs, I'll start by making a really thick tea, or not thick, but dark tea of whatever herbs I'm using, and then I will add it to the moon water, and then I pour that over the dog. So it's like a tea rinse.
Yeah.
And I've done that.
I have to do some research to make sure everything is safe.
Yeah.
For Kitty, because
another thing I was thinking is I've made sprays, herbal sprays, but they use a small amount of alcohol. So for cats, that wouldn't.
Well, I was thinking specifically, I remember making this was when Charlie was still with us, making a spray for fleas, to repel. I'm trying to think of the word. To repel fleas, and it called for different oils, and then obviously the carrier oil, and I couldn't. Most of those oils I couldn't put on a cat.
Yeah, you have to do a lot of research, but I find herbs a lot safer.
Yeah, than oils. For sure.
It's just not as volatile of a substance, Next, burning herbs for protection or energy cleaning. You don't necessarily even have to burn the herbs.
No, you can have them sitting in a dish like potpourri.
Yeah. You can make little herb bags and hang them in places. And fill them with things that are, you have to look it up. And it's okay to not know the answer, what herbs to use or what stone to use. Look it up. It's fine. I do it all the time. Yeah. There's no way to keep all of this information in your head.
No, absolutely not.
But you can also, do the little herb bags and hang them everywhere and that kind of stuff. Or if you want to, in a safe.
Catnip is a herb.
Yeah. And if you want to, in a safe way, you can do a candle with the herbs in it, in a safe place when there's no dogs there. But it can help you to cleanse. You can also like do a cleansing, like what most people refer to as smudging, but it is not. It's a closed practice for Native Americans. So we call it cleansing, but like smoke cleansing. So you have a wrap of dried herbs that you're using. And then you go through and you do a ritual kind of thing of cleansing it with the smoke while telling whatever energy you want, whatever, being like, go away, basically.
Either come or go. You can do it to bring in something positive, or you can do it to push out something negative.
Yep. Blessing animals during their grooms. You can do little blessings on them.
Well, you do Reiki.
I do Reiki.
I took a course. The courses I took a course during that 2020 crazy stuff that was happening. I took a Reiki animal course.
I
never really did
Reiki
it
on most dogs. I have never thought about doing something like specifically with like a seasonal energy, and now I'm kind of interested in that. Like the idea of like kind of putting that like abundant, like that like energetic abundance into that dog. But yeah, I thought that was a cool one, giving them little blessings or Reiki or whatever you want to do. But even just like kind of in your head, just I wish this dog to have, abundance and just giving them that like intention.
All the milk bones he wants.
Yes. And then also setting summer intentions at your grooming table. I don't necessarily have an altar in my grooming space, but I do have certain little things within my grooming station. But maybe, I don't do it, but it's something you could do, is even, doing like a different...
Right.
Something small, like at your table, like a different stone or a different, maybe you have a little herb bag there or, something like that. But giving it that intention of like, we're going to go into the summer good kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like that. Do you have anything else to say about ritual?
Oh, like I had read some stuff about like an altar, like your summer solstice altar. And what I was reading about was like, like we change them up. You're right. You have the ideas of changing up your altar for season. So it was just talking kind of specifically about some of the things you would find on your summer solstice altar. So I actually brought a few things to, I'm not going to hold up the candle, but I do have a candle, and it's an earth candle.
And it smells like dirt, and I love it.
It is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So I have my sunstone. So that can be on my altar. I also have seashell. It's a summer.
Yeah, makes sense.
A feather for summer. And then one of the other things it talks about like a flower. And we have an official flower, but we do have a model flower.
There's a model flower.
Yeah, a model flower, which is actually pretty cool. So setting up, and I could see that. Like, it's funny, I'm listening to you talk, and it's like, so while we were in Intergroom, my husband painted my grooming room.
Yeah.
So I came home, and my grooming room is beautiful. Like, I like pink. He painted it pink, and not only did he paint it, but he put up wainscoting. So, yeah, it is. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So little by little, I've been, adding and stuff. Like I'm hanging up a picture. I moved a shelf I had up. He hung my dryer on the wall, and I have a few more things to hang on the wall. He framed a poster, my cat breed poster. He framed that, put it on the wall. He framed my chakra cat poster. I'm gonna put that on the wall. It just hasn't gotten up yet because he kept asking me, where do you want it? Where do you want it? I'm like, I don't know yet. Yeah. But I had this white, it was a plain wood shelf. I picked it up at Joann's, before they closed. I picked it up and I had him paint it white because that's kind of the accent. And it's hanging right above my station. So I have this shelf here and I'm thinking, am I going to just put like practical stuff on it, like the ear cleaner, or is it going to be something fun? And so I really kind of wanted to be something fun. And one of my neighbors had given me a quartz cat,
Ooh.
And so I thought, well, I could put that on there for sure. But yeah, so now I'm thinking that I could change it out.
Yeah,
that
and
could be
it'll be your little like altar there.
Yes, something to remind me to stay focused, stay balanced, and yeah. So it's got my little going. Let me change it out.
I don't groom full time anymore, so I do very small things around my grooming station because it's not
right, because you're not in it all.
And I'm not in that all the time, but I do I have altars upstairs in different areas. You see, I actually bring that one crystal with me to all of the shows. That's part of my bathroom altar.
Yes, I bring a carnelian with me everywhere. It's my, I don't know. I'm gonna say that's my crystal because anytime I go into a metaphysical store,
that's the one you're drawn to.
I am drawn to. It's funny because it's an orange stone. I'm not normally drawn to anything orange. It's not a color that I wear. It's not a color that, I guess it's probably not even a color that I really appreciate. But for some reason, I am drawn to carnelian. Like everywhere I go, it's like I'm always buying a carnelian. I'll buy other things too, but somehow I always end up with another carnelian. It's weird. Yeah. But I really like it. I have a really nice big one. I have a smaller one, and the smaller one is the one I take with us. I say us because it's always us. But yeah, I take that one with when I travel, and I put that on bed stand.
Yeah.
So that's and I try to draw.
Like I have like an altar, like an actual. Well, like it's like my little thing with my glasses and stuff. That's my little altar, and I have my crystal and certain stuff there. It's like my crystal, and then I have a silver little a ring cup, a ring plate or something like that. Yeah. Like a old one that came from Czechoslovakia from my great grandparents. So like throwing a little ancestral kind of stuff in there. So yeah, I have that. I just bring the one rock when I travel. I don't want to bring all of that, obviously, but it's my little travel one that comes with me to all of them. So,
and somebody, is it Mary, that makes the dog loops and she puts crystals on them? Or she makes the lanyards.
She makes the
lanyards with the crystals. I think it was Lisa Leedy was making the dog.
Yeah, I think she made one with the dog. And
she
loops.
Might have made some with. Well, I know she made them beaded. I don't know if she makes them with actual crystals or not. But like, obviously, I don't think I would use that for. Well, I don't use loops at all when I'm doing cats. But I would with my dog. But I think those would be more for, like the shows.
Yeah, they're more like show loops.
Yeah, they're not really something you're going to use every day.
But that's another thing that you can do is have seasonal loops.
Yeah.
Get you into the feels. Yeah. Like Groom Loop has, I love that they have printed different patterns of the biothane or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that because that was the one thing where I'm like, oh, but I miss all of the cool patterns that we had. But like I wanted to make the switch from fabric.
Yeah.
So I was very excited when I saw all the different patterns.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm like, ooh, I could get one for every season.
You could. Yeah, you absolutely could.
So, yeah. Is that it for all of the ritual
I believe it is.
So the next thing is the Oracle Pull. Let's close this solstice circle with a little message from the season ahead. Something to anchor your magic through the summer. And then we did
so we could be ready.
So this is from the Enchanted Blossoms Oracle.
Yes, perfect for the season.
Yes.
It matches this, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's just like, I'm like, it's the ghost. All right. So we pulled the Inspiration card, which has lupine goatweed leafwing. So it's like, it's a little dragon. The art is these little dragons on plants. The flower is lupine and the butterfly is goatweed leafwing. That's what it is. And the butterfly is also a dragon. So I'll read what this says, and then we can talk about it. I also will share what ChatGPT thinks. Because I, of course, had to ask ChatGPT.
Got it.
So, lupinus means of wolves, as long ago this plant was thought to sap the nutrients out of the soil. This concept was proven false during the Roman period when they began using the flower for fertilizer and to add nutrients to over-farmed soil. This more enlightened use saw lupine flourish and cultivated into northern Europe during the late 1800s. Lupine is a legume, and I don't know if I pronounced that right. And its legume seeds have been eaten for thousands of years. Lupines have recently seen a resurgence in use as a gluten-free, high-protein flour. Lupines bloom in summer and invite you to laze about in the warm evenings, imagining all the amazing things you want to do with your life.
Nice.
Make some quiet time to listen to your inner self for insight and inspiration. If you have trouble with this, take some time to refill your well.
That's very, it's,
right?
It's very fitting.
Search and integrate ideas and experiences into your daily life that align with what you want to accomplish. Look at art and listen to music. Having some downtime allows the subconscious to mull over new thoughts and ideas. Journal and doodle your random and wandering thoughts. Inspiration can come at any time, wrapped in all things if we are open and waiting to receive it. And then it says, 2 questions. How can I open myself to inspiration? And what am I doing to help refill my well? So basically, they're saying, go back to what it was in the 90s when things got slower during the summer. Go back in time.
I think you said it, and I don't even know if you said it in this episode or the first episode, but listening to your body.
Can I have that?
That's a really pretty death.
Right?
Listening to your body, learning how to listen to your body. And, that is something that I
struggle with.
Didn't do. I didn't do it all. And, now I've hit this age where, my body's not working the way it's turning on me, right?
Yeah.
And, I'm making noises that I never used to make. Everything hurts all the time. And I'm finding myself you need to listen to your body. You need to, and, we also
all need to.
We talked about, I had told you how I really wanted to, when I journaled, part of what I wanted to do, but I haven't really done it very well, is writing down how I'm feeling physically and how I'm feeling mentally and emotionally, and then looking at where the moon is and and just in general what the weather's like, and seeing if anything if it's corresponding, or if it's because I will say that, and I don't know if it's every month, but there's those times when you're up and down. And
my moods are very
right, and I really want to I want to be able to predict my future.
Yeah.
And I feel that would be the way to do it, right? Yeah. If you pay attention to the moon phases and all these things that are happening, that I can start to see, if I start to see those patterns, I can schedule cats when I'm up, when I'm good. And I can maybe, or not even that I don't schedule at all if I'm having a rough day, but I make sure that if I know it's going to be a rough day, maybe I don't want to see, this particular cat that's always a handful for me, right? I want to see this cat because this cat's chill and I can get this one done, and I don't need help, and I don't have to wrestle. So just kind of knowing that stuff. And I think that's a lot of witchcraft it's about self.
Yeah.
It's all about self and knowing ourselves. And if we know ourselves, it's like you said, where it's not about the woo-woo, right? It's not I'm going to make all these things happen. It's about knowing myself, knowing what I'm capable of, not capable of, and knowing how to switch things up.
Yeah.
And so, and when we do that, when we know those things, we can make it look so much easier. And it is easy.
Yeah. I agree. Let's see what ChatGPT says.
What does ChatGPT see?
I have not read this yet. Come, there we go. All right, I found it. So, the inspiration card paired with lupine and goatweed leafwing butterfly feels especially aligned with the solstice's energy. This time of year is all about growth, illumination, and creativity, and drawing a card that speaks directly to the reflection, vision, and replenishing your inner well seems like a direct nudge from the universe or the deck to slow down, soak in the light, and dream bigger. Here's what stands out most. Lupine's message of misunderstood power, once thought to deplete the soil but actually nourishing it, echoes the solstice call to reevaluate what we thought drained us. Maybe you're more regenerative than you give yourself credit for. Maybe your past methods of rest, play, or visioning need to be reclaimed instead of discarded. The butterfly evokes transformation and lightness. You're being asked to notice beauty in motion, like sunlight shifting through leaves or ideas dancing on the edge of your awareness. Where can you allow lightness in your creative process? Inspiration as solstice medicine. The card suggests you're in a fertile moment, but only if you make time to pause, listen, and integrate. The solstice doesn't shout, it shines. Likewise, this pull isn't screaming, act now, but gently reminding you that your dreams matter and they need space. You might ask, what dreams am I ready to nourish with sunlight? Where am I mistaking dormancy or stillness for lack of growth? How can I ritualize inspiration through music, movement, and magic? Let this card be a permission slip to play, experiment, and daydream without a deadline. Let your solstice celebration be less about doing and more about letting inspiration find you. Like lupines blooming in the fields you forgot you planted.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
like
pretty
that.
perfect.
It is pretty perfect. Is it
So-
perfect, Nibbler?
And that was 100% random. I did pick it ahead of time, but I didn't.
No,
like
it wasn't. We didn't pick it. Yeah, I get it. You got something
Cool.
to say?
You have anything to say,
You wanna
Nibs?
close this out? So going forward, we're going to get the socials set up so people can ask questions and
Yep.
offer suggestions. Like if
We'd
it's,
love to hear from everybody.
it could be a witchy topic, it could be a grooming topic, it can be obviously both. The whole point of the show is how we're going to try to integrate these two paths. So
Yeah. So, yeah, we will post about all that. So, as above, so below, may your pets be clean and your spirit glow.
thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.